Immortalize yourself and your guild in Conqueror Hall. Do you have...
Welcome to Albion TV presents the AO Daily Show, your source of real news in an unreal world, keeping you up to date on the latest news, events, and the great community of Albion Online. Today is Thursday, the 29th of August, and I am your host, Shozen, and with me today is my co-host, Bogul. How are you doing today, Bogul?
Good morning. I am doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. We've got an interesting show for everybody today. We're like, oh, what are we going to do? And then we realized, well, we have too much information because we actually started looking for it. Isn't it weird that we're like, hey, we have nothing ready for today. Let's look for a little bit of something. We find something, and then it turns into too much. So we're going to see if we can't jam everything down into this 30 minutes today, Bogle.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, we do have a few reminders and PSAs, just the regular stuff. We do have a market watch that we do here on every Thursday. We look at the gold a little bit. We are going into the details of my little toolmaker project that I announced I was going to talk about it for everybody. And then we figured out why not learn a little bit about how to profit making bags in the current climate, or rather just trying to understand what goes into the crafting process. And as soon as I started spelling all this stuff out with the corresponding numbers, it turned into a 3-page explanatory document. So
oh my God. So
we'll try to condense that down to
is this like one of those Frank Sinatra replies to 2 sentences? Like somebody says, I think that we should remove alliances, and then Frank writes 7 pages?
Well, it started with
how to
the
make
idea.
bags. Bogle writes 7 pages. Okay.
Yes, something like this. Like, oh, how much is going into making a tier 6 bag? Let's look at it. And then, yeah, that's the second part of the show. But the first part is the usual official news reminders. Shozen, what do we have today?
Officially, well, this weekend is Invasion Day. Saturday is Invasion Day at 7:30 UTC or 17:30 UTC. You'll be able to check out Albion TV for the EU portion of Invasion that kicks off at 18 UTC. And during this time, all the territories, the resource territories in the game have been dropped. Special elementals have moved in. You know, all the energy is siphoned out of the ground throughout this last month has really disturbed the elementals under the ground. And they're like, you know, we're going to come out, pop out, and take over. And then everybody at 18 UTC will have the opportunity to go in through the EU portion of the map, take down these PvE elementals, and then lay claim to the territory themselves. And then this is repeated again at 1 UTC the following day. 1 in the morning, like, you know, UTC. That's like...
It's your nighttime, right?
It's the NA time. So it's like 7 o'clock in the NA period. So it's not like it's a big deal.
And you have your show, right?
Yes, we will have a show there. Again,
cool.
This one at, 12:30, 24:30, 0:30. Is that like 0 dark 30? Is that what that's about? Ooh.
There's also the official news thingy on the website, and you can check out the link in the chat. By the way, chat already asks if you're going to wear a suit again for that day.
I probably will wear something nice. I generally like to look nice on Invasion Day. Invasion Day is I don't even wear a full suit. I just put on a jacket and a shirt and a tie. I probably don't even wear pants. It's a secret. Like, I wear shorts.
All right.
Because like dress pants have you ever worn dress pants for an extended period of time in a gaming chair?
I don't think I ever wore dress pants for a stream where you can only see the top part of, your body. So
yeah, there's no point.
Well, yes. So that's happening on the weekend, and something that happened today, though, is that the Percival patch 4 was released. We mentioned it every day this week.
Every day.
Yes.
Dun, da, 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 it's in. So it was delayed
Finally.
yesterday. We're not going to go through every little nuance
Thing
of
again?
this. We've
No.
done this so many times.
But we can show two things that made it onto the marketplace right now. So the end of the month is near, as you know, and at the beginning of the month, the new adventurous challenges start, and it seems like the rewards for the adventurous challenge this month will be a mount skin again. There are two different mount skins on the market right now. I put some screenshots in the notes if you want to put them up, or if you want to check them out live on the market. But if you look for mount skin Heretic Cart or Jousting Horse, then you can take a look at these yourself on the marketplaces.
Oh, they're up now on the market. I'm going to just go look at them on the market. Why am I trying to look at them on the images? I can just go look at them.
Because then you would have to move around.
Oh, I'd have to. Okay, you make a good point, Bogul. Thank you once again for reminding me of why I'm not doing that.
Yes, so the Heretic card looks a little bit like the Founders mount that you got for the Legendary Founders pack in the very release of the game, but it's Heretic style. Some dude pulling a card, still pretty cool. And we have the Jousting Horse that looks a little bit like the War Horses you can have your guild skin on. I'm assuming personally that the Jousting one will be the reward for the Adventures Challenge, and the Heretic card will be the one for the referral season. But we have no way of knowing, so that's just us guessing. But these two, you could take a look at right now.
Sounds like a good idea. Good luck.
Yeah. And that's it already for official news today.
That was it?
Yeah.
That was a quick official news, Bogul. It's like we didn't have much to do. But you know what we have to do, because it's Thursday. Every Thursday we like to do this. And yes, I know we've been talking about gold prices all week, but we're going to go a little bit more into it today. Because, geez, it's going up and down. It's still over 3,000 though, Bogul. Like, this is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just 4 weeks ago, it was at 2,500 silver per gold, and in the recent 4 days, it climbed above 3,000 gold, spiking to levels of like 3,060, 3,070. And everybody is trying to figure out whether or not they want to sell their gold right now or not, or if they want to hold on to it.
It's well, here's the thing is, and we talked about this quite a bit because we wanted to figure out how we were going to introduce this kind of conversation into this, because we've covered how much it's been generally going up 10%. It's been, in the last week it went up 10% a day. How long is this going to go up? What is the value of silver to gold? What does it actually measure? What we are pretty much measuring here is inflation, that the value of silver is going down, and you can basically buy more silver with each individual gold, because in essence the value of gold really never changes. It's always $99 for 21,000 silver. That's it. That's the value of gold. Sorry, what did I? Yes, exactly.
Or the equivalent in terms of premium days, right?
Yes.
So that's the same thing. Yes,
but it never changes. It just stays the same. But the value of silver goes up and down. And when silver value goes down, you can buy more of it with gold. So upcoming in the near future, we have an event occurring that we can all predict. We know this is going to happen. There's going to be a change in the market. And yes, it's far-flung in the future, but it's something that it's the only one you can go, this is definitely going to happen. We know that the hideouts are going to come into the game. And the hideouts are going to cost two things, energy and silver. And when these come into the game, and when the new map comes into the game, we also know that it's going to bring in players who've probably played before and have silver built up, and their silver is still part of the overall silver calculation. When they all buy premium, and when people start spending their silver, and the silver, we have a new silver sink added to the game, the value of silver will go up, and the corresponding amount that you can get per gold will go down. And so we know that in the upcoming future, we're going to see I don't know if it's going to be a market plunge event, but something significant. And it really depends on a couple of factors that we talked about.
But it's hard to predict, right?
Yeah. Well, it's hard to predict. We know that it's going to happen, but the effect is going to be hard to predict. That's the thing. It's like, when is it going to occur, and what is the actual legit effect? Without knowing how much silver each hideout is going to cost, without knowing the upgrade cost of each hideout, like how much silver it's going to cost for each of those, without knowing what's going to happen to all the resources out in the towers that everybody has. Like, this is something that came up in a question.
Yeah. Or what even happens to, the new vanity skins for clothes, and how many people will renew the premium, and there's a bunch of factors that will over time hit when there's a new patch, right? And I mean, the way we brought this up is because it has been a fairly steady development upwards, and we don't quite know where this is going to go, but we wanted to give some caution, right? That there are big things upcoming, and depending on how you judge the situation, you might have a reason to either sell or continue to hold your gold, right? I don't make these predictions. I don't advise you to keep or sell gold. You like to do this more, but it's just something we wanted to mention as an upcoming thing in a few weeks.
Well, yeah, months. We know it's one of those things. We know there's going to be a drop, and the thing is there's going to be people who make a good bit of gold because they're going to be the ones, or silver. They're going to make a good silver pump because they're going to be the ones who sell at the high, and that's not going to be when the patch hits. It's like it's going to be days, maybe even weeks before it, when the announcement comes out, and people end their speculation, and these people who have huge amounts of gold stored just start dropping it. Just start unloading and buying up silver. I
would assume that 3K is a number to unload a bit of your gold stack for a while. So I was honestly assuming it would happen now-ish, but man,
I'm going to. Okay, I feel like with the current situation of what's going on in the game right now, I say that silver prices are still going. Well, gold is going to continue to go up. Like, you're going to be able to see it continuing to rise for a little bit longer. I don't know how much longer, because I feel like if there's a dev chat that comes out soon, for example, that says, like, hey, we're going to drop hideouts in the next patch, for example, then that might cause a silver panic. Or if say the raid dungeons are explained really well and a bunch of people already come back for the raid dungeons, or say WoW Classic gets really boring in a week and people all come back and rebuy premium. There's a lot of weird things that could happen that could change between now and then, but I think overall there's a really good chance you're going to see an increase, probably up to 4K. And I know that's crazy, but it's...
Again, I don't want to make any sort of number predictions, because I have been wrong in the past. I will be wrong again in the future, and I don't want to give advice either way. Because again, we are not official SBI. It's just our opinion.
No, yeah, it's totally opinion, and it's like, following me is like watching some guy on TV and actually making stock price stock choices based off of some guy you see on television. Who's telling millions of people at one time. Do you think that's really... No, Jesus. The only way to make money in the stock market is to insider trade, and you know
it. Maybe we should call up SBI to ask some more questions.
That's what we got to do. Let's find out when gold prices are actually going down, guys. Let's do it. Let's get that early information, folks.
But I see here on the show notes that you had some questions.
I did. I feel like
last time.
So yeah, one of those questions was about the gold, and I kind of talked about that. But he asked. So Loose AO says, I was just curious about three things. Will the black market remain in Carleone? Will all the existing mats spread throughout the black zone be transferred to your islands? Is there going to be another free island move? And finally, will hideouts just have a silver cost? Now, that's 4 questions, Bogul. That's 4 things.
Oh.
He wants to know 4 things. First, he wants to know about 3 things. So we're going to pick one of those questions not to answer. So the black market will remain in Carleon. Period. That's staying.
Right.
Okay? We know that. Second, we don't know what's going to happen to the existing mats in the towers when the map changes. Now, Robin had mentioned during the interview we did with him about the idea of when you lose a hideout, that your stuff would be transferred to Carleon or the nearest city somehow, like through the mail, and be held there, and it might be a time delay and maybe even a penalty, like you were killed in a yellow zone, like you might lose 25% or something. Now, that could happen. Do I think it will? No, because I think all those resources that you don't know where they are and that you've forgotten where they are and you don't remember how... It's like left socks, Bogul. Imagine if all the left socks that were lost in the world came back at once. Imagine what that would do to the sock market. That would destroy the sock market, okay? And just like all the resources coming in, it would be bad for the resource market. And I don't... Like, if Anissa got all of her resources back that she's lost to Money Guild territories throughout the years, it'd destroy the cloth market. It'd plummet.
Well, I still think that having a asset overview, knowing where your stuff is, would be extremely important for the game in the long term. Teleporting stuff from the territories to your own account and bank, honestly, to me, it seems like a thing they could do.
I think it could happen, but feelings.
Yeah. I don't know. What's the third question? So we can get
the third question. I think we already answered that one. I think we talked about it. Like, kind of. Hideouts will have a silver and an energy cost. And this is something that we expect will have an impact on the gold market. Now, again, how much of an impact really depends on how much they cost. How much does it cost to upgrade them? Will 300 guilds go out there and make 300 hideouts in one day? And will they all go out and try to buy stone, and in so finding out that stone has gone through the roof, they all liquidate all their gold into silver and try to get as much stone as they possibly can to build their hideouts? If this happens, have a huge impact. Unless like hideouts cost like less than a GVG. If like hideouts cost less than the GVG.
I think all the smart guilds who are looking at this long term are already building up enough stockpiles of stone blocks right now. Better. So when it's hideout day, then they have it. They don't need to deal with jacked up prices.
Okay, that's good. But I still think it's more like, what does it cost silver-wise and energy-wise? And what does that immediately sink out of the market for like a 9-day experience? It'll be, if 300 guilds go out there and make a plot, what happens?
Personally, I would think the people who resub or spend gold on premium and vanity items would be a bigger deal than hideouts, unless hideouts are like ridiculously expensive. But I don't know. I can't wait. That's always with these kind of things. Yeah. But when it happens, I just sit there in awe and go like, "What?"
I'm going to be watching it. I know I'm going to get to be watching it on my GM account, following some really good guilds around, hopefully finding some really good fights, trying to record some stuff, maybe even show some of it live. It's going to be the craziest kind of invasion day that we've ever had. But there was a couple other things I wanted to talk about in this specific thing, but Bogul, I looked at the time. We have to go into the Toolmaker project because people need to learn about these T6 bags. From what I understand, they are the key to life in Albion. The black market is life. It is the silver flow that keeps the Bogul project go.
Well, that's part of it. So, as I announced earlier this week, I will be doing a little bit of a public knowledge project, trying to bring some clarity to the numbers game that is both the plot business and some of the business around crafting and how these guys have been making their money and might be trying to profit off the plots going forward. So what I did is I was able to acquire a toolmaker plot in Carleon, or rather I built a toolmaker on it, and I was tracking how much food I put in there daily, how much silver pickups I had every day, and kind of started to do a list. Now what you see on the screen right now is the cartel era pickup times. I started doing this on the 15th of August, and the cartel era ended at the 25th of August. So that's only 10 days of data during that time that is now over. But I wanted to give that as some kind of background information for anybody who's curious. And the average daily pickup during that time with a toolmaker that it's very close to the center was about 1.35 million a day. Now, since I didn't have any way to produce food myself, I just went straight to the Carlin market and bought the turnip salads straight from the market. Didn't even care about the price, just wanted to keep my food up in there. And at that time I spent as much as 2,350 per salad, and that is actually way overpriced if you think about it today. And then I was able to reduce the cost of that food a little bit. But in the end, it turns out that I spent more for food than I was making in terms of income per day during cartel times. Now, if I were to be smarter and I had some better numbers at that time, I could have easily halved my cost of food and and basically made this an almost profitable adventure at the time. However, now we have very, very different times, and you can see it on the screen on the left. Now the tax went down from 199 to 19%. And the pickup amounts of the daily things on the toolmaker went down drastically as well. So far, in the last 4 days, I was able to pick up 1.2 million silver from the toolmaker and fees, and I spent about 1.7 million in food on that thing to just replenish it. That combined with the initial investment, I bought that plot for 19 million silver, and I had to spend about 20 something million silver to buy the stone and then put in the toolmaker there. So right now I'm down about 111 million for this month. So far, based on the last 4 days, it would not look like I would be able to make any money with this. However, if we just think in terms of activity, this week has been one of the lowest in terms of activity in a while. There is a lot of other guys who have their toolmaker tax rate set at 10% and lower even. So that is massive competition suddenly. That might force me to even go further down. And I haven't quite figured out what the ideal tax rate is that I want there. This, however, is just the comparison between cartel times and the last 4 days, which is amazingly different. And over the next 4 weeks, I will every Thursday update this little project, show you the newest numbers, and we can go on this little toolmaker adventure by ourselves. Now, when I was looking at these numbers, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to lose so much money. Mm-hmm. But then when I actually looked at some further math,
Bogul, this is what people
I realized that it's actually not too bad.
Okay.
The main factor that will decide whether or not I will make a profit over the next 30 days is if I can utilize the 15% that this little thing gives me. So what I did, and I know a lot of people are not even aware that some of these numbers are a thing, or some of these factors are a thing, I looked at what actually goes into trying to make a tier 6 bag. And at first it seems super obvious and sort of boring, honestly, because it's just, well, you go to the market and you buy 8 leather and 8 cloth, and you click craft, and there you have it, right? And then you just you do 8 times the amount of money you spend for the leather and 8 times the amount of money you spend for the cloth, and you have how much you spend for your bag, right? That's the base math.
Right, but then you gotta factor in other factors like resource return.
And then it goes crazy really fast.
Yeah, you start how many? There's too many factors. When you started naming off factors, I was like, Bogul.
I will do a quick rundown, and everybody who is listening right now who might get lost along the way, you can just re-listen to this. Or what I will probably do is I will publish my math at a later point in time so you can read it. But I'll try to do this in like 2-3 minutes, just very briefly.
Okay.
So you start with your 8 times leather, 8 times cloth. You have your resulting cost for your bag. That is right now is about 56,000 silver if you were to buy it in Carleon. Then what you have to look at is that you actually get a 15% resources return rate for crafting in Carleon, which would put down your price to about 47k. But then if you are a smart crafter, you're also using focus, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but if you use focus, you have another 30% return rate. And then you need to think, okay, if I need to spend premium to be able to use focus, how much do I need to value my focus for to be able to afford premium, or at least make the crafter pay for himself? And then you're looking at around 20 silver or so that one focus point needs to profit you in order to be able to afford that premium as of current prices. And then if you are using focus and crafting at that thing, and you get your 44% resources back, 44%, then you're suddenly looking at about 31k or so real cost to craft that bag. But now you have to add that silver that you have to spend on the focus, and then you're back at 34.5k ish. And that's the basic steps so far, right? You look, okay, this is how much I spent for my focus, and this is how much I buy my leather and cloth for. This is the final price. And you go look at the market actually. And right now, if you look at the black market in Carleon, bags sell for about 42 to 46k.
Okay.
But so that's a margin right there already.
There's a little bit of margin. So how many of those do you have to... Bogul. That's how much is that margin? It's like 6,000, right?
Yeah, that's about 6,000 per bag.
Okay.
The issue though is that if you craft a bag at a toolmaker, you have to account for taxes as well, because you have a fee to craft at a toolmaker.
Okay.
And right now that fee is about 1,000 silver. So you're still looking at a margin of about 5,000 silver per bag.
Mm-hmm.
However, I graciously skipped over a very important fact. The silver to focus calculation I did there was based on 160 focus per bag and 20 silver per focus.
Mm-hmm.
And that is with a max level bag crafter.
Oh, gosh, Bogul, how many people have that?
That's the problem. And then you go into the level of how much does it cost me to level up a bag crafter to that level to have that focus use. And if you are not in the area of 100, 150 or like 50 mastery, then you're about at that level of where it's break even at that point. So if you were to look at this again from a maxed out crafter perspective that I have, then you can just go to any toolmaker right now in Carleon and profit just with the focus daily. But then again, if you're doing 10,000 focus, 62 bags a day, and then 62 bags times 5,000 silver, then you're making about 300,000 silver a day profit of that little adventure, and that's not too bad, I think.
I'm reading I'm listening to your numbers in one ear and reading the numbers on the screen with one eye, and people are saying some crazy things here. Like, you'd need to sell 1,250 bags per month to pay for premium.
What?
I don't know where you got that number from, but that sounds like a lot, Bogul. Did I?
Oh, no.
No. How many bags would you have to sell per month to pay for your premium?
That depends on which bag you make and how much your other costs are, and there's I think his math may have some issues. I'll try to publish this and for criticism later on, so people can let me know if this is
okay.
Yeah, but another thing that I wanted to mention before we end the show is that there are other factors as well, right? So because what I'm doing is I'm running my own shop, and I wanted to know if I go to a different toolmaker and I pay about 900 silver per bag in taxes, if I were to just do it myself, how much taxes, quote unquote, am I charging to pay for my own food? And it comes down, based on my math, to about 300 silver. And so that 600 silver per bag is what the guy makes of me if I just go to him. And that's, again, not too bad. But then you're still missing the journals that you're not including in your math, which is another 10k profit per craft per bag that you can take off. But then you have to add the monthly defense cost on your plot again, which is another like 20k per bag, and then it goes like into very varying territories depending on speculation. But to break this down, to cut this short, based on my current estimations, based on my current projections, it takes about 2 or 3, maybe 4 max level backcrafters using their focus daily to break even on a plot like this, on owning a plot like this. And that's a lot of investment. And that also means that you can process the journals, for example, at 150%. So I'm taking everything I could possibly take into account into that, and it looks like about 3 or 4 characters that need to utilize a plot to be able to survive in the current climate.
But you're saying it's possible then?
It is possible if you're utilizing the whole thing.
But it's not going to get it passive anymore.
No, it's not possible if you're just relying on making tax income from the public associate or the public rates. That's what it seems to be at right now. And that's an interesting summary, I think. I will try to publish this later, and then I'm happy for criticism.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm sorry to have brought you criticism at the end there, because I was just reading some of these things, and they seemed like a lot. That seems like a lot of bags to make. But how many bags do you sell? How many bags do you make a day? You were saying that with 20 characters at 20 bags a day, that's 400 bags at T8 that you're making a day with focus.
That's my theoretical capacity at tier 8, yeah.
Okay.
And that's about 80% of the current volume of the black market. But in practice, there is too much stuff cycling through and coming from other sources that aiming for 80% of the volume is too high. So I need to go down and do like tier 7 and other stuff.
Okay. It's a lot of T8. I wonder how many people out there who get bags actually get bags that say Bogul on them. Like, it's just,
it wouldn't say Bogul on all of them because I have 20 alts.
I forgot. And they're the worst names too, like ba and
yeah. Well.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. So it took a little longer. Sorry guys, but again, this is my little project that I will be pushing forward over the next 4 weeks, and I'm happy to get any input on this. I hope I can get it over the weekend. And that's, I think, our deep dive section for the Thursday Market Watch section of the show.
Yeah, it was a good show. I enjoyed it. What I could follow. I'm gonna be honest. I was a little behind on parts of it, Bogle. This is too heady for me.
I skipped about 2 pages of math.
I know. There was so much math. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. You can catch us Monday through Friday at 18 UTC and Tuesday through Thursday at all the way until, like, what, 2020, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how long we stay till? Yeah, because we do an Albion live show after this and cover both crystals and the GVGs that occur at 20 UTC.
Yeah.
See, that's about as much math as I can handle, Bogle. That's a lot of math for me. Now, if you ask me what time that was in my time zone, I'd be real confused. That's way too much math for me. Oh, gosh. But you can also check us out this Saturday at 17:30 and 0 dark 30, I guess, at for the EU and NA portions of Reset Day, because Reset Day is a lot of fun. You guys should check it out. If you're not participating, watch it. It's good stuff. But yeah, Bogle, we're going to stick around and do the overtime show, but first we're going to take a short break, probably about a minute, and then come back and answer some of your questions. So Bogle, I'm sure you're going to get asked about your bags.
Sure.
Okay.
Go ahead.
We'll be back in about a minute, and if you're heading out, stay classy, Albion.